Now imagine this, a moment in your life where everything changed. A moment that shook you so deeply you felt like you would never be the same again. Perhaps it was a loss, a heartbreak, a failure, or a test so heavy that you questioned everything you once felt certain about. In that moment, it didn't feel like mercy. It felt like destruction. It didn't feel like love. It felt like abandonment. But what if I told you that what you are going through is not the end of you? It is the rebuilding of you. You see, when Allah wants to raise someone, He doesn't always do it by giving them more. Sometimes He does it by taking things away. Not because He hates you, but because He loves you in ways you cannot yet understand. He removes what distracts you, what weakens you, what pulls you away from Him. And in that emptiness, in that silence, in that pain, He begins to rebuild you into someone stronger, someone closer, someone better than you ever were before. When hardship enters your life, the first feeling that often settles in your heart is confusion. You begin to question why things are falling apart, why doors are closing, why the path that once seemed so clear has suddenly become filled with obstacles. It is natural to feel this way because as human beings, we are created with emotions, with attachments, with hopes that we want to see fulfilled. But what we often fail to realize in that moment is that not every hardship is a punishment. In fact, many of the difficulties you face are part of a carefully designed process, a process through which Allah is rebuilding you into someone stronger, wiser, and closer to Him. Think about it carefully. If every time you made a mistake, you were immediately punished in a way that destroyed you, where would you stand today? The truth is, Allah is far more merciful than we can ever imagine. He does not rush to punish. He gives time, He gives chances, and sometimes He places you in situations that feel difficult not to harm you, but to wake you up. Hardship becomes a mirror, reflecting back to you the areas of your life that need attention, the parts of your heart that need healing, and the connection with your Creator that may have weakened over time. There are moments when life becomes so comfortable that you forget the one who provided that comfort. You become so caught up in your routine, your ambitions, your relationships, that your focus slowly shifts away from what truly matters. And then suddenly something happens. Something shakes you. It could be the loss of a job, the end of a relationship, a failure you never expected, or a test that leaves you feeling completely helpless. In that moment, it feels like everything is going wrong, but in reality, something is being corrected. Something is being realigned. Hardship has a unique way of stripping away illusions. It removes the false sense of control you thought you had over your life. It reminds you that no matter how strong you believe you are always in need of Allah. And that realization, as painful as it may seem, is one of the greatest gifts you can receive. Because when you turn back to Him sincerely, when you raise your hands and call upon Him with a broken heart, you are in a position of closeness that you may not have experienced before. You see, rebuilding is not a gentle process. When something is being rebuilt, it often requires breaking down what already exists. Old structures must be removed, weak foundations must be exposed, and everything that cannot support what is to come must be cleared away. And this is exactly what hardship does to your life. It breaks down your dependence on things that were never meant to sustain you. It exposes the weaknesses within you, not to humiliate you, but to give you the opportunity to strengthen them. Sometimes you lose something you thought you could never live without. And in the beginning, it feels unbearable. You feel like a part of you is missing. But as time passes, you begin to realize that you are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still moving forward. And slowly you start to grow in ways you never thought possible. You develop patience you didn't know you had. You build resilience that surprises even you. You begin to understand yourself better, and more importantly, you begin to understand your relationship with Allah on a deeper level. It is important to understand that punishment and purification are not the same. Punishment is meant to destroy, but purification is meant to cleanse. When Allah tests you, it is often to purify your heart from sins, from distractions, from attachments that are pulling you away from Him. Every difficulty you face, every moment of pain can serve as a means of wiping away your sins and elevating your status if you respond with patience and trust. There is a hidden mercy in hardship that you may not see immediately. You might look at your situation and think that everything is going wrong, but behind the scenes, things are being arranged in ways you cannot comprehend. Allah sees what you do not see. He knows what lies ahead, and He knows what needs to be removed from your life in order to protect you and prepare you for what is to come. So when you find yourself in the middle of a test, instead of immediately assuming that you are being punished, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself what this situation is teaching you. Ask yourself how it is changing you. Look at how it is pushing you to turn back to Allah, to make dua, to seek forgiveness, to reevaluate your priorities. Because in that reflection, you will begin to see that this hardship is not here to end you. It is here to rebuild you into someone far greater than you were before. Pain is something every single one of us tries to avoid. We run from it, we distract ourselves from it, we pray that it never comes near us. And yet, despite all of that, there are moments in life where pain finds its way into our hearts in the most unexpected ways. It settles in quietly at times, and at other times it crashes into our lives without warning. And when it comes, it changes us. It shakes us, it humbles us, and it forces us to confront realities we may have spent years avoiding. But what many people fail to realize is that pain, as heavy as it feels, is often the very beginning of something beautiful. It is the starting point of a spiritual awakening that could transform your entire life. You see, when everything is going well, when life feels smooth and comfortable, it is very easy to become spiritually asleep. You go through your days on autopilot. Your prayers may still be there, your words may still mention Allah, but the depth, the sincerity, the connection, it slowly fades without you even noticing. Your heart becomes occupied with the dunya, with people, with plans, with expectations. And before you know it, your relationship with your Creator is no longer the center of your life, it becomes something secondary. Then pain enters, and suddenly everything changes. That same heart that was distracted becomes focused. That same tongue that rarely made sincere dua begins to call out in desperation. That same person who felt independent now realizes how dependent they truly are on Allah. Pain has a way of removing the layers that were covering your heart. It strips away the distractions and brings you face to face with your reality. And in that moment of vulnerability, something powerful begins to happen. When you are broken, you are no longer relying on your own strength. You begin to seek strength from the one who controls everything. Your conversations with Allah become more real, more honest. You are no longer making casual requests. You are pouring your heart out. You are speaking with sincerity, with humility, with a level of presence that you may have never experienced before. And this is where the awakening begins. Pain forces you to reflect. It makes you question your choices, your direction, your priorities. It pushes you to think about your purpose, about your relationship with Allah, about what truly matters in this life. Without pain, many of these reflections would never take place. You would continue moving forward without ever stopping to ask yourself if you are on the right path. But pain interrupts that routine. It forces you to pause, to think, to realign. There is also something incredibly powerful about the way pain softens the heart. A heart that has never experienced hardship can sometimes become hard, unaware of the struggles of others, disconnected from empathy and compassion. But when you go through your own pain, you begin to understand. You become more gentle, more patient, more compassionate towards others who are struggling. Your pain becomes a source of mercy, not just for yourself, but for those around you. And sometimes the pain you experience is exactly what brings you back to Allah after a long distance. There are people who spent years feeling disconnected, lost in their own ways, until something happened that shook them deeply. That pain became the turning point. It became the moment they raised their hands and sincerely said, "Ya Allah, I need you." And in that moment, their journey back began. A journey that may never have started if everything had remained easy. It is important to understand that spiritual awakening does not always come through comfort. In fact, it rarely does. Comfort often keeps you where you are, but pain pushes you to grow. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and into a space where you are forced to depend on Allah. And that dependence is what strengthens your faith. It is what deepens your connection. It is what transforms your understanding of who Allah is in your life. Every tear you shed carries meaning. Every moment of sadness, every sleepless night, every silent struggle, it is all part of a process. A process that is shaping your heart, refining your soul, and bringing you closer to the one who created you. And even though you may not see the full picture right now, even though you may not understand why things are happening the way they are, you can trust that there is wisdom behind it. Because sometimes what feels like a breakdown is actually the beginning of your awakening. What feels like darkness is actually guiding you towards light. And what feels like pain is actually opening the door to a connection with Allah that you may have never experienced before. There are moments in life when everything you once relied upon begins to shift, and you find yourself standing in a place you never expected to be. Your plans fall apart, your expectations are shaken, and the version of life you had imagined no longer exists in the way you thought it would. In those moments, it is easy to feel like you are losing control, like things are slipping away from you. But what you may not realize is that in the middle of all this change, something far deeper is taking place. You are being reshaped. Your character is being refined, your faith is being strengthened, and your priorities are being realigned in a way that could never happen without these tests. Character is not built in ease. It is not formed when everything is going your way and life feels comfortable. True character is revealed and developed when you are faced with challenges that test your patience, your honesty, your integrity, and your trust in Allah. It is in those moments of difficulty that you discover who you really are. You begin to see how you respond under pressure, how you treat others when you are struggling, and how you turn to Allah when you feel like you have nothing left. There are people who believe they are patient, kind, and strong, but they have never been placed in a situation that truly tests those qualities. It is only when hardship comes that these traits are either proven or developed. When you are hurt, do you respond with anger or with restraint? When you are tested, do you complain constantly or do you try to remain patient? When things don't go your way, do you lose hope or do you hold on to your trust in Allah? These are the moments that shape your character, not the moments of ease. At the same time, your faith begins to transform. Faith is not just about what you say, it is about what you believe in the unseen, especially when things are not going the way you want. It is easy to say you trust Allah when everything is going well. But when you are faced with uncertainty, when you cannot see the outcome, when the situation seems heavy and unclear, that is when your faith is truly tested. And through that test, your faith has the opportunity to grow into something much stronger and more sincere. When you go through trials, you begin to understand what it really means to rely on Allah. You start to realize that your plans are limited, but His plan is perfect. You begin to let go of the illusion that you are in control of everything, and you start to submit to the reality that Allah knows what is best for you, even when you do not understand it. This shift in understanding deepens your faith in a way that comfort never could. Your priorities also begin to change. Things that once seemed so important to you may no longer hold the same value. You start to question what truly matters in your life. Is it the approval of people or is it the pleasure of Allah? Is it temporary success or is it eternal peace? Tests have a way of clearing your vision. They remove the distractions and help you focus on what is truly meaningful. Sometimes you were chasing things that were never meant for you. You were investing your time, your energy, your emotions into things that would not have benefited you in the long run. And when those things are taken away or disrupted, it feels painful. But in reality, you are being redirected. You are being guided towards something better, something more aligned with your purpose, something that will bring you closer to Allah. It is also through these tests that you develop strength you never knew you had. You go through situations that you once thought you would never be able to handle, and somehow you make it through. Not because of your own power, but because Allah gives you the strength at every step. And with each challenge you overcome, you become more resilient. You begin to trust that no matter what comes your way, you will be able to face it with the help of Allah. Over time, you start to see the changes within yourself. You are more patient than you used to be. You are more understanding, more grounded, more aware of your relationship with Allah. You react differently, you think differently, you feel differently. And all of this is a result of the tests you went through. These experiences are not random. They are carefully placed in your life to shape you into the person you are meant to become. A person with stronger character, deeper faith, and clearer priorities. A person who is not easily shaken by the ups and downs of life because their heart is anchored in something far greater than this world. There are moments in life when you lose something so important to you that it feels like a part of your heart has been taken away. It could be a relationship you were deeply attached to, an opportunity you worked tirelessly for, or a path you believed was meant for you. When it disappears, when it is taken out of your life, the immediate feeling is pain, confusion, and even disbelief. You begin to ask yourself why this happened, why something you cared about so much did not remain. And in that moment, it feels like deprivation. It feels like you have been left with less than what you deserved. But what if the reality is something entirely different? What if what you lost was not a loss, but a form of protection that you could not yet see? You see, human beings often judge situations based on what is visible in front of them. We become attached to outcomes, to people, to plans, believing that they are the source of our happiness. We convince ourselves that if we just hold on a little tighter, if we just try a little harder, everything will work out the way we want it to. But Allah, in His infinite knowledge, sees what we cannot see. He knows the future of that relationship, the reality of that opportunity, the consequences of that path. And sometimes what you are holding on to so tightly is actually something that would have caused you harm if it had remained in your life. When something is removed, it does not always mean that you were unworthy of it. It does not always mean that you failed. Sometimes it means that Allah is saving you from a pain that is greater than the one you are currently feeling. It means that He is protecting your heart, your faith, your future in ways that you cannot yet understand. And this is one of the most difficult realities to accept, because in the moment of loss, all you can see is what is missing, not what you have been saved from. Think about how many times in life you wanted something so badly, and when you did not get it, you felt disappointed. But later on, with time and reflection, you realize that not getting that thing was actually better for you. Perhaps it would have led you down a path that distanced you from Allah. Perhaps it would have brought stress, regret, or consequences that you were not prepared to handle. At the time, you could not see it, but later the wisdom became clear. The same applies to the things you lose. There may be aspects of that situation that you were unaware of. There may have been harm hidden beneath something that appeared good on the surface. And out of His mercy, Allah removed it from your life before it could affect you in a deeper way. But because we are limited in our understanding, we interpret that removal as a loss rather than as a form of care. Attachment can sometimes blind us. It makes us hold on to things even when they are not right for us. It makes us ignore signs, overlook issues, and continue down paths that are not beneficial for our growth. And when Allah removes those things, it breaks that attachment. It forces us to let go even when we do not want to. And in that letting go, there is a hidden freedom. A freedom from something that may have been holding you back. A freedom that allows you to move forward towards something better. There is also a deeper lesson in learning to trust Allah's decisions over your own desires. It is easy to trust when things go your way, but true trust is shown when things do not go as you planned. It is in those moments that you say, even if you do not fully understand, that you believe Allah knows what is best for you. That what He has written for you is better than what you would have chosen for yourself. When you begin to adopt this mindset, your perspective starts to change. Instead of constantly asking, why did I lose this? You begin to ask, what is Allah protecting me from? Instead of focusing only on what is gone, you begin to reflect on what lies ahead. You start to see that your story is not ending, it is being redirected. And that redirection is not random, it is intentional. There is a form of peace that comes with this understanding. Not an immediate relief from pain, but a deeper sense of reassurance that your life is being guided with wisdom and care. You may still feel the sadness of what you lost, and that is natural. But alongside that sadness, there is a growing awareness that there is something greater at play. And one day, perhaps sooner than you expect, you will look back at that very thing you once grieved over. You will remember how much it meant to you, how difficult it was to let go, how deeply it affected you. And then you will see where you are now, who you have become, and what you have been given in place of what you lost. And in that moment, the realization will settle in your heart that what you thought was a deprivation was actually a protection that saved you in ways you could never have imagined